We're good. Good morning, everyone. I'll call this meeting to order at 9:21 a.m. And it's basically a hybrid meeting. There's people in the council chambers and there's also the Zoom, those who are on Zoom. I'm sure Deputy Mayor Gibson isn't on yet, but I'm sure she's coming. We'll go ahead and start with the introduction. During the public meeting portion of the proceedings, the following procedure will be taken for each application being considered. I will announce the application in order as listed on the agenda. Jennifer current senior planner will summarize her findings and give recommendations. The applicants will be asked if they wish to add any further information or comments. All participants will be unmuted for this portion of the proceedings. The public will be asked if they wish to make any comments on the application in order to be recognized by the chair. Please approach by stating through you, Madam Chair, and then your name and that you would like to make comments regarding this application. Once the chair has recognized you, you may be able to speak. So the next item is the territorial land acknowledgement. Before our meeting gets underway, I would like to formally recognize the traditional keepers of this land and specifically our neighbors of the Alderville First Nation with a formal territorial acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the Township of Alnwick-Haldeman is located on the Mississauga Anishinaabe territory and is the traditional territory of the Mississauga Anishinaabe. The Township of Alnwick-Haldeman respectfully acknowledges that the Mississauga Nation are the collective stewards and caretakers of these lands and waters in perpetuity, and that they continue to maintain this responsibility to ensure their health and integrity for generations to come. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof? Sorry. Seeing none. Item 4 is the approval of the agenda as circulated. Be it resolved that the municipal planning meeting agenda of Thursday, May 26, 2022 be approved as circulated with two changes.
So the first one is item 12, which is the billing report. That one is going to be deferred to our next meeting. We made some changes, but we didn't change it all the way through, so we corrected the bylaw in the report. And that'll be coming back on our June 2nd meeting. And the other is Dale Bolton has asked to be a delegation for items being dealt with under item 13. Hear her presentation before the report on the request of stop up and close.
Oh, for Bobo. Council, are you willing to have Dale Bulkey speak to that prior to? Okay. So that'll be part of the approval of the agenda then, that item 12 will be omitted and that Ms. Bulkey will be allowed to speak regarding the road closure. Application for road closure. So could I have a mover? Councillor Phillips, second by Councillor Booth. All in favor? Carried. I'm just thinking this might be shared. Item 5 is approval of the planning minutes. The first one is the municipal planning meeting minutes of Thursday, April 28th, 2022. Be it resolved that the municipal planning meeting minutes of Thursday, April 28th, 2022 be approved. Have a mover? Councillor Hogg, second. Councillor Philip, all in favor? Carried. special council meeting for short-term rentals, which I could have just added to that, but anyways, be it resolved that special council meeting minutes for short-term rental of Tuesday, April 26, 2022 be approved. Mover? Counselor Phillips, second by Counselor Booth, all in favor? Carried. Item 6, motion to adjourn to Land Division Committee, Committee of Adjustment meeting. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Alnwick Haldeman, being a Land Division Committee, Committee of Adjustment, adjourn to a Land Division Committee, Committee of Adjustment meeting for the purpose of hearing consent applications at 9:26 a.m. Mover?
I'll move that.
Counselor Hogg, second. Counselor Philip, all in favor? Carried. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll start out doing one at a time, and Jennifer first will walk us through Gary and Julie Edwards application AH07 2022 concession 9, part of lot 24, geographic Haldeman, recreation of a rural residential lot. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Through you, Mayor Latchford. The Edwards have actually submitted 2 consent applications, AH07 and application AH08 2022. The applications, this property has frontage both on Bowmanton Road and on County Road 9. And one severance will be created off of the Bowmanton Road frontage and the other off of the County Road 9 frontage. Application AH07 2022 would result in the creation of a 0.92 hectare new vacant rural residential lot. And it would have frontage, on, I just have to confirm before I misspeak. This application has frontage on Bowmanton Road, so it's located in the northeast corner of the subject property. Now, the subject property is developed with a wedding venue known as Meadowview Gardens, and there are also agricultural uses on the property. The property is located on the south side of Bowmanton Road, and it's north of County Road 9. Over the years, the past few years, they've developed the wedding venue, and they've got English country garden style on the property with 1 acre English garden, a large rock garden, stumpery Italian sunken garden. They've done quite a good job with their horticultural endeavors there. The property is located in the rural designation in the Township of Alnwick Haldeman official plan, and residential lot creation is permitted by both the provincial policy statement and the township's official plan. According to the PPS, residential development that is locally appropriate is permitted. It was deemed that the proposed 0.92 hectare rural residential lot is compatible with the surrounding land uses, which are predominantly agricultural and rural residential in nature. There are 2 livestock barns located in this general area. There's one located west on Bowmanton Road, and another property on County Road 9. MDS calculations were prepared for those livestock facilities, and the proposed severed lot is located outside of the required MDS setback. The PPS requires that development be compatible with the rural landscape and available services. The proposed lot is appropriately sized to accommodate the required private servicing and is currently serviced with a year-round maintained road. In their May 2nd, 2022 comments, Lower Trent Conservation noticed that there's a headwater tributary of the Burnley Creek that originates south of the property, but while it extends, it doesn't extend onto the property, it's just south of it. there's no concerns with respect to environmental or natural heritage or hazard features on the property. There's no Lower Trent regulated lands on the property. Now, the two tributaries, the tributaries that were identified by Lower Trent would be considered fish habitat under the provincial policy statement. But again, the proposed lot is located more than 120 meters from those tributaries, so it's not within the influence area. The growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe requires the completion of a hydrologic evaluation for all development within 120 meters of a key hydrologic feature. However, once again, since the lot is located more than 120 meters from the hydrologic feature, a hydrologic evaluation was not required. Northumberland County recently adopted official plan amendment number 1, which establishes the natural heritage system. The proposed severed lot is located within an area that has been identified in the natural heritage system. However, the OPA number 1 for the county OP establishes a system, and then within that system, there are features that are identified. So while it's within the system area, it's not within a feature area. And notwithstanding that, OPA number 1 hasn't been approved by the ministry yet. So the application is consistent with the provincial policy statement and the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe. The property is not located on the Oak Ridges Moraine, so that doesn't apply. The Northumberland County official plan, it's located on lands designated rural areas, which permits lot creation in accordance with local municipalities' official plan policies. As I mentioned earlier, the subject properties designated rural and environmental protection. The proposed lot is located in the rural area, and it would be considered non-farm residential use, which is permitted by the official plan policies. The official plan policies permit the creation of a maximum of 2 lots for a property that is less than 36 hectares as of 1990, and there have been no previous severances. So this consent application, along with AH 08 2022, would use up all the potential for severances on the property. The severed lot would have frontage on County Road 9, and a year-round maintained year-round municipal road. So there's no problem with that. So the application maintains the intent of the township's official plan policies. The subject property is zoned rural exception 139, which permits a special events and horticultural education venue, along with all of the other rural uses. However, it does require a minimum lot size of 15 hectares. The proposed 9.92 hectare severed lot is smaller than the minimum lot size required for the rural zone, and it would need to be rezoned to the rural residential zone. Now, I believe the Edwards have also applied for a zoning bylaw amendment that is going to be considered by council later at this meeting. So they're applying for 2 severances and the zoning bylaw amendment concurrently. So the application underwent an agency review. There were no comments, there were no concerns raised during the agency review. I received 1 comment, 1 public telephone call after I drafted the report, and it was just a general inquiry about the consent and the purpose of the application. So there were no concerns raised as a result of that. So the recommendation is that the proposed severance be approved, and it's not within the required MDS setback for the 2 livestock barns. There are no natural heritage or hazard features on the proposed severed lot, and it's consistent with the policies in the township official plan, the provincial policy statement, and the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe. Sorry, this was application AH07, which has the frontage on County Road 9.
Okay.
Which is, sorry, I misspoke. And it's located in the southwest corner of the property. AH08 is in the northeast corner of the property.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Gibson is in attendance now. I just need to ask, any conflicts of interest?
None.
Deputy Mayor, none? Okay. Thank you. Would you like Jennifer to just go on with 08 as there's pretty well the same? Then we can do them both at the same time.
Certainly,
It may leave out the repetitive reading if you wish.
certainly. Through you,
Okay.
Mayor Latchford. This application is an application also by the Edwards, as I mentioned earlier, AH 07 2022 is in the southwest corner, and it has frontage on County Road 9 and would create a 0.92 hectare severed lot. This application is also for a vacant rural residential lot located in the northeast corner of the property with an area of 0.64 hectares. All of the same information that I had just discussed regarding the provincial policy statement, the official plan, the county official plan, the growth plan, all pertains to this application too. It's in a rural area. There's no natural heritage features or hazard features on the proposed severed lot. The severed lot's outside of the MDS setback. It has frontage on Bowmanton Road, which is a year-round municipally maintained road and is of a sufficient area to accommodate the required private services. So that application is, this application AH 08 2022 is also consistent with the provincial policy statement, the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe, the county official plan and the township official plan. Similarly, the agency circulation yielded no concerns, and the public circulation, I received one telephone call just requesting information, general information on it.
Okay, thank you. Is the applicant in attendance? And if so, do you wish to speak on these applications? Anything further to add? Seeing none. Anyone from the public like to comment on these two severances? None? Any questions from council? Okay. We can have the recommendation, which we have, but we can approve this. Want to read this all of it? So we'll do 07/2022 first, and that's the one on County Road 9. This will be the motion.
The recommendation is that application AH 07 2022 by Gary and Julie Edwards to sever a parcel of land for the creation of a new vacant rural residential lot in part of lot 24, concession 9, geographic township of Haldeman is hereby approved subject to the following conditions. That a registered survey for the severed parcel be submitted to the township. 2, further to the printed plan of survey, a closed polygon vector file of the part boundaries shown on the reference plan is to be provided in spatially referenced Autodesk DWG Windows readable format to the satisfaction of the township. It is recommended that the applicant's Ontario land surveyor consult with the County of Northumberland GIS section to confirm acceptable standards and formatting. That a draft transfer for the severed parcel be submitted to the township. That the tax account for the subject property be paid up to date. 5, that a zoning bylaw amendment be in effect for the severed parcel pursuant to the Planning Act. 6, that the $10,491.46 development charge for the severed lot be paid to the Township of Alnwick-Haldeman. And 7, that the $1,500 cash in lieu of parkland fee be paid to the Township of Alnwick-Haldeman.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Philp, second. Councillor Booth, all in favor? 407/2022, carried. And the recommendation and motion, it'll be for AH 08/2022. This is the one on Bowmanton Road.
Through you, Mayor Latchford, the recommendation is that application AH 08/2022 by Gary and Julie Edwards to sever a parcel of land for the creation of a new vacant rural residential lot in part of lot 24, concession 9, geographic township of Haldeman is hereby approved subject to the following conditions. 1, that a registered survey for the severed parcel be submitted to the township. 2, further to the printed plan of survey, a closed polygon vector file of the part boundaries shown on the reference plan is to be provided in spatially referenced Autodesk DWG Windows readable format to the satisfaction of the township. It is recommended that the applicant's Ontario land surveyor consult with the County of Northumberland GIS section to confirm acceptable standards and formatting. 3, that a draft transfer for the severed parcel be submitted to the township. 4, that the tax account for the subject property be paid up to date. 5, that a zoning bylaw amendment be in effect for the severed parcel pursuant to the Planning Act. 6, that the $10,491.46 development charge for the severed lot be paid to the Township of Alnwick Haldeman. And 7, that the $1,500 cash in lieu of parkland fee be paid to the Township of Alnwick Haldeman.
Thank you. And we can make that the motion for 08/2022. Can I have a mover? Counselor Hogg, second. Counselor Phil. All in favor? Carried. Okay, and that one will move on to the rezoning part of the municipality or agenda. The next one is Dijon Crop Care, Agent Ruben Dijon, AH 09/2022, Concession 8, part of Lot 29 and 30, Geographic Haldeman. And the application is to sever a surplus farm dwelling. Dear Ruben, would you like to come up and sit at that table if you wish? Okay, we'll let our planner take us through the report first.
Through you, Mayor Latchford. The purpose of application AH 09/2022 is to sever a surplus farm dwelling from an agricultural property located in part of lots 29 and 30, concession 9, geographic Haldeman, located on the west side of Isaac Road. A copy of the applicant's survey sketch was provided. The property is a fairly large property. It has an area of approximately 76.6 hectares. It's located on the Oak Ridges Moraine in the northwest portion of the township. It's bounded on 3 sides by roads. East side, it's bounded by Isaac Road, north and to the north by County Road 9, and on the south by Bowmanton Road. The property is developed with a single detached dwelling and 3 barns. It's my understanding that the greenhouse and several tobacco kilns were recently removed from the property. The buildings are clustered sort of in the central portion of the property off the Isaac Road front. It's just approximately equidistant from Bowmanton Road and County Road 9, just off Isaac Road. Almost the entire property is under active agricultural cultivation, with the exception of approximately 3.6 hectares in the southwest corner. There's a pond that's located immediately east of Isaac Road, and there appears to be a water course that traverses the property. Surrounding land uses are a combination of large agricultural properties and large forested properties, which are part of the Northumberland County Forest System. And there are large licensed aggregate operations located about 900 meters to the northwest and west of the subject property. So the subject property is located on the Oak Ridges Moraine and is designated Oak Ridges Moraine Countryside in the Township of Alnwick official plan. And the PPS, when we're looking at properties that are in the countryside designation on the Oak Ridges Moraine, there's countryside rural and there's countryside agricultural. These ones are in the countryside rural, so the rural policies of the provincial policy statement apply to it. The severance of surplus farm dwellings is permitted by the policies of the provincial policy statement. Development needs to be compatible with the rural landscape and be sustained by rural service levels. What in this case they're severing, the application is to sever an existing dwelling and the land immediately surrounding it from the larger agricultural property. So there's really no new development being proposed. The land uses are going to stay the same. While the severed lot is larger than what we would normally see for the severance of a surplus farm dwelling, it's 2.6 hectares. It's the area around, because the dwelling is set back off of the road and there's a cluster of the buildings around it, they need the 2.6 hectares. It's really not removing any excess land from agricultural cultivation. In their May 2nd comments, Lower Trent identified an unevaluated wetland south of the existing structures and a headwater tributary of the Rice Lake, which flows north east from the mapped wetland across the property. The lands surrounding the unevaluated wetland and headwater tributary are regulated by Lower Trent, and any site alteration or development within the regulated area will require an LTC permit. Now, Lower Trent did go on to say that the wetland and the headwater tributary would be considered key hydrologic features and require the completion of a hydrologic evaluation. However, it's been our practice at the municipality and my recommendation that a hydrologic evaluation is not required when no new development is being proposed. Nothing's going to change. They're just creating a lot line. In this case, because the property is located on the Oak Ridges Moraine, the retained land, the retained lands have to be rezoned to prohibit any further residential development. So my recommendation is that a hydrologic evaluation was not warranted with this application. Additional mapped unevaluated wetlands are present west of the subject property and southeast of the subject property. There's no new buildable lot being created with the application, so I don't see a problem with it. Compliance with the minimum distance separation requirements is mandated by both the PPS and the Township of Alnwick-Haldeman official plan. One inactive livestock barn was identified at 161 Marriott Road. An MDS calculation was prepared for that barn, resulting in a 238 meter MDS setback. The proposed lot, that's the lot with the house on it, is located approximately 650 meters from the livestock barn, well outside the required MDS setback. So the application is consistent with the provincial policy statement. The Oak Ridges Marine Conservation Plan, the property is on the Oak Ridges Moraine, and severances are generally not permitted in the Oak Ridges Moraine. However, the severance of a surplus farm dwelling is permitted by section 32 of the Oak Ridges Moraine Conservation Plan, provided the retained lands are rezoned to prohibit future residential development. The applicant has also applied concurrently for a zoning bylaw amendment, the required zoning bylaw amendment that will be required as a condition of consent. The Northumberland County official plan, the subject lands are designated Oak Ridges Moraine and are subject to the policies of the Oak Ridges Moraine Conservation Plan, as I just discussed. So county comments, they had no concern about it. They did in their comments note that there is a mineral aggregate area west of the subject property, but as I mentioned earlier, their comment was it's 850 meters west of the subject property. When I measured it, I thought it was 900, so give or take. The official plan, as I mentioned earlier, it's on the Oak Ridges Moraine. Official plan policies do permit the severance of a surplus farm dwelling, and that's what's happening with this. As little land as possible is being removed from agricultural cultivation because Mr. DeYoung is a area farmer and it's his interest to cultivate the land, and he has no need for the dwelling on the property. The property is zoned Oak Ridges Moraine Countryside Zone in the Township of Official Township zoning bylaw. And it will need to be rezoned to a Oak Ridges Moraine Countryside Exception number 9 zone, which will specifically prohibit residential development on the retained lands. The severed lot will remain zoned Oak Ridges Moraine Countryside. There's also a bit of Oak Ridges Moraine Plan Review and Oak Ridges Moraine Environmental Zoning, and that will stay in effect. So the application was circulated to the required agencies. There were no concerns except for Lower Trent Conservation, who recommended that the application be deferred pending the completion of a hydrologic evaluation. Northumberland County also commented that they wanted road widening along the County Road 9 frontage to ensure that there is a strip of land 17 meters from the center line of County Road 9 along the frontage of the retained portions for road widening purposes. Bell Canada had no concerns. So my recommendation is that the application be approved subject to the conditions listed in the report, and the application is consistent with the provincial policy statement. The growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe maintains the intent of the Township of Alnwick-Haldeman official plan. I'm just going to confirm that I did, yes, in the conditions, I did include the road widening condition as
Okay.
requested by Northumberland County.
Although they have no plans for road widening. And the more
And
the more that gets, less severances or building is going to be allowed, they may never for some time. I'm going to let you speak, Ruben. Anything else from you? Yeah. It's something, it's
When-
moving your property line. Yep,
well,
you can still work it, but it'll become ownership of the county unless you wish to do something about it, but
if I could.
go
through you, Mayor
ahead,
La-
you
if I
can,
could,
yeah,
through you, Mayor
yeah, go
Latchford.
ahead.
What happened, the recommendation or the condition reads that the applicant shall lay out and dedicate to the county of Northumberland a strip of land ensuring 17 meters from the center line of County Road 9. Now, sometimes your surveyor will go out and there will already be 17 meters to the property boundary, and sometimes they won't. So you won't know until your surveyor goes out. They mark the center line of County Road 9, they measure 17 meters back. And if your property is already 17 meters back from the county road, then there's no need for road widening. If they discover that your property is 13 meters from the center line of County Road 9, then they're going to take, I said 13, right? Then they're going to take 4 meters. It's a condition of, if it's a condition of consent, it is required, and your consent can't be finalized without it. It is a common condition of consent. Sometimes the municipality, like the township, if we have a forced road and our road right of way is not 66 feet, 20 meters, then we'll request road widening to ensure that there is a appropriate right of way. I don't know whether the case I used is probably extreme when I said 4 meters, but I don't know. I can't say.
It's just common practice on the part of the county, Ruben, on any county road.
Yeah.
And,
Fire
you know,
rescue and all
you
that.
can appeal it. Others have appealed and won. Yeah, I know, but
Wondering if that sounds cheap here.
you're fine. Okay.
What you should do is just throw a tape, one time when you're pulling through, just hop off the tractor and just see what it actually is. It might be very, very small.
So any comments from the public?
I have received no public comments on this application.
Any questions or comments from council? Seeing none. We'll get Jennifer, the recommendation then will become the motion here.
Through you, Mayor Latchford, the recommendation is that application AH09 2022 by DeYoung Crop Care Inc., agent Ruben
We have a
DeYoung.
question. I see.
Pardon me?
We have a
Oh,
question
okay.
from the public. Can you let Grit in?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Latchford. I just have a question. I was looking at the map of this, the picture, and I can't actually see where the house is. It doesn't describe where the house is, but it shows red line around where all the farm buildings are. Does that mean that all those farm buildings will be included in that severance?
That is correct. Through you, Mayor Latchford, the red line is the proposed severed lot, and they're all clustered in there. The farm buildings consist of a barn, I believe, and a sort of a drive shed kind garage, detached.
Machinery storage, a two-car garage, bunkhouse, and a storage shed.
We can't hear the speaker.
I'll repeat what he said. The farm buildings consist of a bunkhouse, a drive shed, a 2-car garage, and a storage building. There's no livestock barn on this property. It was previously a tobacco farm. There was a greenhouse and several tobacco kilns, which have been demolished from the property.
Okay, so my next question would be then, since the retained parcel will be strictly agricultural farmland use, but there are 4 roads bordering that property. And I
Right.
understand that there will be a zoning bylaw amendment to prohibit future residential development. But how binding will that be when you have 4 roads literally surrounding that property? And what's to stop someone coming forward and asking for a severance in the future? Like, how binding is that amendment? And is there a time limit?
Through you, Mayor Latchford, the zoning is in perpetuity, I suppose, until it gets changed, but if somebody applies for a zoning bylaw amendment, but any rezoning on this property would have to be consistent with the provincial policy statement in the Oak Ridges Marine Conservation Plan. And this, given this property's location on the Oak Ridges Marine, future residential severances are not permitted.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you continue.
Okay, I'll just start again. The recommendation is that application AH09 2022 by DeYoung Crop Care Inc., Group Agent Ruben DeYoung, to sever a surplus farm dwelling in part of lots 29 and 30, concession 8, geographic township of Haldeman, now in the township of Alnwick-Haldeman, is hereby approved subject to the following conditions. 1, that a registered survey for the severed parcel be submitted to the township. 2, further to the printed plan of survey, a closed polygon vector file of the part boundaries shown on the reference plan is to be provided in spatially referenced Autodesk DWG Windows readable format to the satisfaction of the township. It is recommended that the applicant's Ontario land surveyor consult with the County of Northumberland GIS section to confirm acceptable standards and formatting. 3, that a draft transfer for the severed parcel be submitted to the township. 4, that the tax account for the subject property be paid to date. 5, that a zoning bylaw amendment be in effect for the retained parcel pursuant to the Planning Act. 6, that the retained parcel be rezoned to prohibit any future residential development. And 7, that the applicant shall lay out and dedicate to the County of Northumberland a strip of land ensuring 17 meters from the center line of County Road 9 along the frontage of the retained portion for road widening purposes to the satisfaction of the County of Northumberland.
Okay. Council, we need a mover for that.
I'll move that.
Moved by Councillor Hogg, second by Deputy Mayor Gibson. Actually, I think all 3 seconded it, but saw her first. All in favor? Carried. So Ruben, it'll move on into, you've applied for the zoning, so we'll deal with that later on in this meeting. But it's up to you if you wish to stay or if
Am I required to stay for the rezoning?
not necessarily, it's just up to you.
Okay, well, like I'm seeing as we've discussed this.
Okay, thank you. Nice meeting you.
Yes, very good.
Okay, our next application is AH10 2022. And it's Toby Black, concession 1, part of lot 8, geographic Haldeman, recreation of a rural residential lot. I think he's still on the line. Okay, we'll go with this one.
Through you, Mayor Latchford. Application AH10-2022 applies to a parcel of land located in part of Lot 8, Concession 1, Geographic Township of Haldeman, civic address 327 Rutherford Road. The subject property is located on the east side of Rutherford Road, north of Highway 401. The property is developed with a single detached dwelling and detached garage, and it slopes gently from the east from Rutherford Road. Surrounding land uses are predominantly rural residential uses with a large rural property located immediately to the east of the subject property. The proposal is to sever the existing house and 0.4 hectares from the property. So the retained portion will be a 2-hectare vacant property. So in this case, they're severing the house off and the retained portion will be vacant. The property is designated rural in the township official plan, and sections 1.11, 1.14 and 1.15, if the PPS pertain to this application, locally appropriate residential development is permitted by the PPS. The proposed severed and retained parcels both have frontage on Rutherford Road. The retained land at 0.2 hectares will be appropriately sized to accommodate any proposed development on it, and the services for the existing dwelling are located on the 0.4 hectare severed lot. An MDS calculation was prepared for a property on the south side of 401 located at 296 Dudley Road. That's because we have to do an MDS calculation for all livestock barns within 750 meters of a property. This property at 296 Dudley Road has numerous livestock barns on it. They're generally very small. There's a lot of birds and sheep and pheasants. MDS calculation was prepared, resulting in a 141 meter setback, and that the proposed severed lot is located well outside of the required MDS setback. In their April 8th comments, Lower Trent Conservation indicated there are no natural heritage or hazard features on the property, and there are no LTC regulated lands on the property. So the application is consistent with the provincial policy statement and the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe. Similarly, it's not located on the Oak Ridges Conservation Plan, so it doesn't apply to this application. The proposed severed lot is located on lands designated rural in the county official plan, and lot creation is permitted in accordance with the township's lot creation policies. Now, the subject property, I think I've made a mistake in my official plan section. I apologize. I say it's designated rural, provincially significant wetland and environmental protection, but it's only rural. This property is only rural. I apologize about that. There are no natural heritage features or hazards located on the subject property.
Okay.
The rural designation permits lot creation. You can have a maximum of 2 severances from a property that is less than 36 hectares as of 1990. There has been one previous severance from this property in 2007. So this will be the second of the 2 permitted severances. So the application conforms to and maintains the intent of the Township of Alnwick Haldeman official plan. This property is zoned rural residential at this time. Even though it's a 2.4 hectare property, it's still zoned rural residential. So both the retained lot and this proposed severed lot will comply with the lot area and frontage requirements of the rural residential zone. So a zoning bylaw amendment is not required for this application. We did an agency circulation. There were no concerns raised with the application. There's been a public circulation. I have received no comments from the public circulation. So the recommendation is that the application be approved. It would result in the creation of a developed 0.4 hectare severed lot and a 2 hectare retained lot, both with frontage on a year-round municipally maintained road, and the severed lot, and both the severed and the retained lots are outside of the required MDS setback from the barn on Dudley Road.
Okay. Does the applicant wish to make any further comments on your application? Is there anyone from the public who might wishes to make a comment on this application? Great, I can't, okay. Any council member? Anything pertaining to it? It's pretty straightforward, this one. Okay. So there's no comments from anyone. I saw a hand go by. I just didn't know.
No.
Oh, okay. So we'll have the recommendation here and then this
Certainly.
will be the motion.
Through you, Mayor Latchford, the recommendation is that application AH 10-2021 or 2022 by Toby Black to sever a parcel of land for the creation of a developed rural residential lot in part of Lot 8, Concession 1, Geographic Township of Haldeman is hereby approved subject to the following conditions: that a registered survey for the severed parcel be submitted to the township. 2, further to the printed plan of survey, a closed polygon vector file of the part boundaries shown on the reference plan is to be provided in a spatially referenced Autodesk DWG Windows readable format to the satisfaction of the township. It is recommended that the applicant's Ontario land surveyor consult with the County of Northumberland GIS section to confirm acceptable standards and formatting. 3, that a draft transfer for the severed parcel be submitted to the township. 4, that the tax account for the severed parcel subject property be paid up to date. And 5, that a zoning bylaw, no 5.
No 5.
We're done.
So council, I need to entertain that as the motion. If you're in agreement with those 4 recommendations, we'll make it a motion. Moved by Councillor Philp, second. Councillor Hogg. All in favor? Carried. And we have one more. Our next consent application is for Vicky and William Sayers, AH-11, 2022, concession 1, part of lot 5, geographic Haldeman. And again, this is a creation of a rural residential lot. So we'll let Jennifer walk us through this one as well.
Through you, Mayor Latchford, the purpose of application AH 11-2022 is to sever a parcel of land for the creation of a 1.8 hectare new vacant rural residential lot from an existing 18 hectare property located at 554 Dudley Road. The subject property is located on the north side of Dudley Road in the southeast area of the township. The subject property is partially forested and Highway 401 forms the northern boundary of the property. The property is developed with a single detached dwelling and a pole barn. They have 1 horse and a goat on the property. And the buildings are located on the eastern side of the property. The proposed severed lot is located in the southwest corner of the property. The area to be severed is partially cleared with some scrub brush. Lower Trent has identified a headwater water course traversing the northern portion of the subject property, and there are 2 accessory buildings which are located in the southwest corner. Surrounding land uses are a mix of rural residential uses along Dudley Road and some larger rural lots. There's a small horse barn located at 557 Dudley Road. That's on the opposite side of Dudley Road. And the applicant has noted in their application that the property is not suitable for agriculture due to the presence of bedrock. The property is designated rural in the Township of Haldeman official plan. And the PPS allows for locally appropriate development, residential development in the rural areas. The application, it would be considered locally appropriate. It's creating a 1.8 hectare rural residential lot in the area. Both the severed and the retained lands are sufficiently sized to accommodate the required private services and are serviced by Dudley Road, a year-round municipally maintained road. Compliance with minimum distance separation requirements is mandated by the PPS. An MDS calculation was prepared for the pole barn on the subject property, housing 1 horse and a goat, resulting in an 81-meter MDS setback. The proposed severed lot is located outside of that MDS setback. And an MDS calculation was also prepared for the livestock barn at 557 Dudley Road, resulting in a 98-meter MDS setback. And the proposed severed lot is similarly located outside of that required MDS setback. In their comments, Lower Trent Conservation did identify the water course on the subject property and noted that the water course is encompassed by forested areas. And while there is no floodplain mapping available for the on-site water course, they are confident, in their comments, they did indicate that they're confident that the proposed severed lot is outside of any flood hazard for the water course, and that engineered floodplain mapping is not warranted to define the flooding hazard for that water course. The water course and the adjacent lands are regulated by Lower Trent, and the water course would be considered a key hydrologic feature. The proposed, which would require the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe, would require the completion of a hydrologic evaluation for any development within 120 meters of that water course. However, the proposed severed lot is located outside of the required 120-meter setback, and a hydrologic evaluation was not required. Northumberland County recently adopted official plan number 1, establishing a natural heritage system. Schedule A2 to the Northumberland County official plan designates a small portion of the subject property natural heritage area. The proposed severed lot is located outside of the natural heritage area as designated on OPA 1. And as I mentioned earlier, OPA 1 has not yet been approved by the province, so it's not in force and effect. So the application is consistent with the provincial policy statement and the growth plan. The Northumberland County official plan designates these lands rural area, and permits lot creation in accordance with the local municipalities' official plans. The official plan for the Township of Alnwick-Haldeman permits residential severances in the rural area. As I mentioned earlier, a maximum of 2 severances is permitted from a property of less than 36 hectares. As the property existed in 1990, there's been 1 previous severance application approved in 1994. So with this severance, no further severances would be permitted from the property. Both the severed and retained lots will have frontage on Dudley Road, and the severed and retained lots are appropriately sized. So the proposed severance complies with the policies of the Township of Alnwick-Haldeman official plan. The property is zoned rural, and the rural zone permits a wide range of uses on a minimum lot size, a property with a minimum lot size of 0.5 hectares. The proposed 1.8 hectare severed lot is smaller than the minimum required for the rural zone, and would need to be rezoned to the rural residential zone, which permits a single detached dwelling on a property of 0.4 hectares. The applicants have submitted a concurrent zoning bylaw amendment application, which will be considered by council later in the meeting. An agency circulation was undertaken. The application was reviewed by the manager of public works, who commented that an entrance permit could be issued at a location to be determined by the manager of public works. Lower Trent comments were reviewed earlier, and they did indicate that a hydrologic evaluation and an environmental impact study were not required because the proposed severed lot is located further than 120 meters from the key hydrologic feature on the property. Northumberland County reviewed the application and confirmed that the proposed severance conforms to the intent of the official plan. They did provide comments regarding the OPA number 1 that I discussed earlier. And they also commented on the size of the retained lot, the size of the proposed severed lot, 1.8 hectares, which is larger than usually anticipated. And they requested for additional information. The applicants have indicated that the The subject property is very rocky, bedrock. It's not suitable for agriculture, and they wanted the land, the 1.8 hectares will allow them to have an unobstructed view of the lake. So it's a siting issue. Alderville First Nation had no comments, and Bell Canada had no comments. There's been a public circulation for all properties within 60 meters, and no public comments have been received. So the recommendation is that the application be approved with the conditions listed in the report. If the property is located in a rural area, our official plan permits severance from the property. It's out, the severed lot is located outside of any required MDS setbacks for an on-site and off-site livestock barn. And the proposed severed lot is located more than 120 meters from the on-site key hydrologic feature.
Thank you. You finished. Right? Okay. Does the applicant have anything further to say regarding your application? No? Anyone from the public have any questions or comments? Any questions or comments from council? Okay, seeing none. Jennifer has the recommendations and we'll let her read those out, and then if no changes, that will become the motion.
The recommendation is that application AH 11-2022 by Vicky and William Sayers to sever a parcel of land for the creation of a new vacant rural residential lot and part of Lot 5, Concession 1, Geographic Township of Haldeman is hereby approved, subject to the following conditions. 1, that the registered survey for the severed parcel be submitted to the township. 2, further to the printed plan of survey, a closed polygon vector file of the part boundaries shown on the reference plan is to be provided in spatially referenced Autodesk DWG Windows readable format to the satisfaction of the township. It is recommended that the applicant's Ontario land surveyor consult with the County of Northumberland GIS section to confirm acceptable standards and formatting. 3, that a draft transfer for the severed parcel be submitted to the township. 4, that the tax account for the subject property be paid up to date. 5, that a zoning bylaw amendment be in effect for the severed parcel pursuant to the Planning Act. 6, that the $10,491.46 development charge for the severed parcel be paid to the Township of Alnwick-Haldeman. And 7, that the $1,500 cash and move parkland fee be paid to the Township of Alnwick-Haldeman.
Thank you. I'll entertain that as a motion if council's satisfied with those recommendations. Moved by Deputy Mayor Gibson to approve, second by Councillor Booth. All in favor? Carried. Item 8 is motion to reconvene to the municipal planning meeting. Be it resolved that the council of the Township of Alnwick-Haldeman, being a land division committee of adjustment, reconvene to the municipal planning meeting at 10:18 a.m. Mover. Moved by Deputy Mayor Gibson, second by Councillor Philip. All in favor? Carried. So item 9 is going into the public meeting for the zoning applications. So the first one's from a previous meeting, and then we have 3 from this meeting. So the first one is Ian, Glory, and Claire Phillips, Z-04-2022, and it'll be bylaw number 42-2022. And this is concession B, part of lots 11 and 12, geographic Haldeman. Okay, Jennifer.
Through you, Mayor Latchford. This application Z-04-2022 applies to land in part of lots 11 and 12, concession B, geographic Haldeman, and is required as a condition of consent application AH02-2022, which was approved by the Land Division Committee on February 24th, 2022. At that point in time, a 0.4 hectare severed lot was created off the southeast corner of a 68 hectare property with frontage on the north side of Lakeport Road in the southeast area of the township. This property does have provincially significant wetlands on it. There are waterfront, there are streams and water courses that traverse the property. The proposed or not the proposed, the conditionally approved severed lot is located outside of any of the environmental features on the property and outside of the required 120-meter setback from those features. And as such, a hydrologic evaluation was not required for the severed lot or the subsequent zoning bylaw amendment. The application is consistent with the provincial policy statement and the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe. The property is not located on the Oak Ridges Moraine. The county official plan, the area is designated rural and lot creation is permitted in the rural area. And with this zoning bylaw amendment application, it will facilitate that lot creation. In the Township of Alnwick official plan, the property is designated rural, provincially significant wetland and environmental protection on Schedule A. And the conditionally approved, as I mentioned earlier, the conditionally approved severed lot is located outside of any of the environmental features on the property, which, given this property, this is about the only area on the property that is outside of all of the environmental features and the influence areas. There have been no previous severances from this property, and the application that the severed lot has frontage on Wicklow Beach Road. Sorry, I said Lakeport Road earlier. It's Wicklow Beach Road, and a year-round municipally maintained road. So with this zoning bylaw amendment, which will rezone the property to a rural residential zone, the proposed conditionally approved severed lot will comply with the township's zoning bylaw. An agency circulation was undertaken. There were no comments or concerns raised during the circulation. Well, there were comments received, but the comments received said they had no objection to it. Notice of the application was circulated to all landowners within 120 meters. I've received no public comments on the application. So the application to rezone the conditionally approved severed lot to the rural residential zone is consistent with the provincial policy statement, the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe, the Oak Ridges Marine Conservation Plan, and maintains the intent of the Alnwick-Haldeman zoning bylaw.
Okay. Questions or comments, council? Seeing none. I'm just going to read this as the motion. So be it resolved that the application Z-04-2022 to amend the zoning on a parcel of land owned by Ian Glory and Claire Phillips, legally described as part of lots 11 and 12, concession B, geographic township of Haldeman, from rural to rural residential in the township of Alnwick-Haldeman zoning bylaw 19-2019 as amended be approved. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Phil, second. Councillor Hogg, all in favor? Carried. The next one is one we just finished up with, Dijon Corp Inc., Care Inc., Z-05-2022, bylaw number 43-2022, concession 8, part of lots 29 and 30, geographic Haldeman. So maybe we can shorten that one
Yep,
up a
we'll
bit
shorten this one up.
since we've just heard it.
Yep, this application is to rezone the lands that were just conditionally approved by the Land Division Committee with application AH09-2022. And the purpose of the application is to rezone the retained land, which is a 74-hectare parcel, to the Oak Ridges Marine Countryside Exception Zone, which will prohibit all residential uses. The application is consistent with the provincial policy statement, the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe, and the Oak Ridges Marine Conservation Plan, which permit the severance of surplus farm dwellings, provided the retained lands are rezoned to prohibit residential development.
Okay, anything further from council on the rezoning? Seeing nothing, I'll read the motion. Be it resolved that application Z-05-2022 by Dijon Crop Care Inc. to amend the zoning on a parcel of land located in part of lots 29 and 30, concession 8, geographic township of Haldeman, from the Oak Ridges Moraine Countryside Zone to the Oak Ridges Moraine Countryside Exception 9 zone in the township of Alnwick Haldeman zoning bylaw 19/2019 be amended as approved. Have a mover? Counselor Hogg, seconded by Deputy Mayor Gibson. All in favor? Carried. Okay, we got Gary and Julie Edwards, Z06/2022, bylaw number 44/2022, concession 9, part of lots 24, geographic Haldeman.
Through you, Mayor Latchford. This zoning bylaw amendment was required as a condition of consent for consent applications AH07-2022 and AH08-2022, which were submitted concurrently with this application and previously approved at the Land Division Committee meeting earlier today. With those two Land Division severance application approvals, 2 rural residential lots were created from the subject property, which has frontage on Bowmanton Road and County Road 9. The AH07 has frontage on County Road 9 and AH08 has frontage on Bowmanton Road. The consent applications were consistent with the provincial policy statement, the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe, and the township's official plan. There were no concerns raised during the agency circulation of this zoning bylaw amendment application, which would facilitate those severances. With this application, the 2 severed lots would be rezoned to the rural residential zone, which would permit the construction of a single detached dwelling on each lot on a property with an area of 0.4 hectares. So that both of the severed lots comply with the rural residential zone provisions. The retained lot will remain zoned rural exception 139. So the recommendation is that the application be approved.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions or comments from council? Seeing none. Be it resolved that application Z-06/2022 to amend the zoning on a parcel of land owned by Gary and Julie Edwards, legally described as part of lot 24, concession 9, geographic township of Haldeman, from rural exception 139 to rural residential in the township of Alnwick Haldeman zoning bylaw 19/2019 as amended be approved. Have a mover? Counselor Booth, second by Counselor Phil. All in favor? Carried. Okay, now the last one here today is for Vicky and William Sayers. Z-07/2022, bylaw number 45-2022, concession 1, part of lot 5, geographic Haldeman. Okay, we did this one today as well.
Yes, this application will be required as a condition of, or is required as a condition of consent application AH11/2022, which was submitted concurrently with the zoning bylaw amendment application and previously approved by the Land Division Committee earlier this morning. And it requires, one of the conditions is that the severed lot be rezoned to the rural residential zone, because the 1.8 hectare lot would not comply with the rural residential, or sorry, the rural zone provisions, which require a minimum lot area of 5 hectares. The property is located in the rural area. The application is consistent with the provincial policy statement, which permits locally appropriate residential development. It's not located on the Oak Ridges Moraine Conservation Area plan area. While there is a key hydrologic feature on the subject property, the proposed severed lot the conditionally approved severed lot is located outside of the 120-meter influence area for the hydrologic feature, and a hydrologic evaluation was not required. So the application is consistent with the provincial policy statement, the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe, the township's official plan, the county official plan, And with the rezoning of the property of the conditionally approved severed lot to the rural residential zone, it will comply with the requirements of the township's zoning bylaw. So the recommendation is that it be approved.
Okay, anything further from council? Seeing nothing, I'll read the motion. Be it resolved that application Z-07-2022 to amend the zoning on a parcel of land owned by Vicky and William Sayers, legally described as part of Lot 5, Concession 1, Geographic Township of Haldeman, from rural to rural residential in the Township of Haldeman zoning bylaw 19-2019 as amended, be approved. Now, remover. Deputy Mayor Gibson, second by Councillor Philp, all in favor? Carried. Okay, our next portion of the meeting is item 10, and this was some communications from the ministry. Be it resolved that the correspondence received from the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks, Kristen Corrigal, Director Conservation and Source Protection Branch, dated April 22nd, 2022, be received and filed. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Phillips, second by Councillor or Deputy Mayor Gibson. Any comments on this? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Item 11 is a request for a change of a date for our June municipal planning meeting date change from June 23rd, which is the Thursday, to June 21st. And if we've checked our schedules, it will be at 9:15 on Tuesday, June 21st, if council's in agreement with that. So I don't, Deputy Mayor Gibson?
I was going to make a motion to approve the change of date.
Okay,
Same time, though, right? Through the mayor?
same time.
Okay.
So be it resolved that the municipal planning meeting of Thursday, June 23rd, 2022 be changed to Tuesday, June 21st, 2022. And the motion was made by Deputy Mayor Gibson and Councillor Phillips second. All in favor? Carried. Item 12, we've deferred to our next meetings. So we did that at the beginning of the meeting. Item 13, and Brian McMillan, our Public Works Manager, will be on for this one. And Dale Wilkie, I think, will speak to this as well. So I'll get it on the floor. Be it resolved that Council of the Township of Haldeman receive the report from the Manager of Public Works, Parks and Recreation dated May 26, 2022, regarding the request from Dale Volkey for a stop-up, close, and sell of a non-open road allowance on Bull Road. And if I can get a mover to get that on the floor first, before we make the final decision, Councillor Philp and Councillor Booth. Okay, where's Brian? There he is. You ready, Brian?
Just 1 second there, Mayor, sorry.
Okay.
Okay, I'm ready, sorry. Yes, the report you have in front of you is a request for the stop up and close and sell of the unopened road down to Bull Road. Again, the recommendation is before you. Staff has reviewed this request along with the other managers in the township, the senior planner, the chief building official, the clerk. We talk about the stuff reviewed was the property is on the Oak Bridges Moraine Zone. We did have a letter from the abutting landowner submitted opposing the stop up and close of the unopened road allowance. And there's an adjoining property behind the road allowance, which is a large piece of land, and the owner of the property may ask the township via the road allowance in the future. And the current property owner, Dale Volkey's lot size is a buildable lot for her to build a home in the future. Therefore, it was our request to deny this request for the stop up and close and the sale of the road levels.
Okay, thank you, Brian. And at this time, I'll let Dale Bulkey address her application for this. Good morning. You're on mute. We need you to mute yourself there.
Unmute.
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 There we go.
Mute.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for this opportunity to meet Madam Chair. Madam Chair, Mayor Latchford and council members. I'm here today to ask council to reconsider your previous recommendation to keep this road open, but in fact to close the unopened road as per my original request, which was brought to council a few weeks ago. I'm sorry, I think I neglected to say the proper opening address.
That's okay.
Sorry, my apologies. I ask of this because the original information that I was given via phone from Mr. McMillan, which he's now sort of further explained to me in the beginning, it just sort of didn't seem to make much sense. So I'm just asking for a bit more explanation about that. Brian McMillan did the site plan visit, which was great. And you met and you created the recommendation to keep the road unopened. But I just wasn't clear on that whole decision. And so I'm here today to speak about that and say my piece and hopefully better understand what the recommendation is all about. From what I gather, there's some piece of water or something, and then there's the possibility of a future plan to create, I don't know, a home, a couple of homes or whatever. So Brian was explaining to me that this section of my road would need to meet up with Bull Road. But I just want to go with a little bit of history about Bull Road. I mean, it's been there for 100 years. That unopened road has remained as is for at least the last 50. I come from that family, the Bull family. My stepfather's parents own 104 at the top of the hill on Bull Road. They were handed down the farmhouse by their parents. And Ed's brother then acquired that farmhouse, and his son, Mark Bull, actually lives there right now. So when my stepfather passed away, before he passed away, he severed the land, and my sister is on one section of that road. I bought this property after my mother passed away, shortly after Ed did. And when I did buy this parcel of land beside 160 Bull Road, I went to the the town's office then, which I think was located just off of William Street. And I looked at the plans. That's when you could go in and actually see the plans in print. And I saw with my own eyes that these roads above and below me were in fact closed. So I'm a little unclear as to how they can now be open. So that was 20 years ago when I went to that office and researched and looked and found that the status of the unopened roads above and below me, I'll say north and south of me. And at that time, I found that both sections were in fact closed. So I'm sort of confused with the possibility that it's now open and available to the municipality. And it's a little shocking. But I've mentioned in previous research and findings about the closure of the roads north and south of me in email and telephone conversations with various staff at the municipality in the past month or so since I began my paperwork. And again, I mean, I know that, it's not something maybe that is openly disclosed. I'm not sure of your procedures, but again, at no time I was told otherwise that the road allowance was in fact still open. So, I mean, you can imagine, how shocked I was when I found out. So when I was in this office in Coburg, I held that survey in my hand, and I clearly remember it, the document, being closed. And I do believe I have the document somewhere. I'm just trying to locate it. But in any case, when I spoke with Brian McMillan, he explained the reason for the recommendation to leave the road open was due to some water. And again, I'm unclear about what he's speaking of, because when I review the map, I can see that there are 5 small, I'll call them tributaries that are running off of Baltimore Creek, and they run south and they run into Bull Road, although honestly, I've never actually seen them. But they don't come anywhere close to my property, and they don't continue further south of my property into the property behind me. So, and they don't even go as far as Stephen Road, which is farther east along Bull Road. So again, I don't understand this talk of water, and therefore the need to open my small section of the road. The homeowners of Bull Road have been traveling to and from their homes along Bull Road, entering and exiting from Highway 45 for well up to or over 100 years. So changes along Bull Road have been minimal over these years. And I asked council why the residents of Bull Road beyond Tackaberry Road should be impinged by any additional road in the future. If the future plan is to build homes off of Tackaberry Road, which is what Mr. McMillan explained to me, why would there be a need for a second road entrance or exit? And why would it have to come down to Bull Road? My suggestion is, could the future plan not supply a horseshoe-shaped road that enters and exits off of Tackaberry Road to compensate and allow, a more of an entrance and exit for any residential plans in the future? And that, in fact, then would keep any additional traffic away from the quiet neighborhood on Bull Road. It's such a small portion of road I'm asking council to close, yet its impact on the community, if left opened and used as a thoroughway, would greatly impinge myself and my neighbors. Mr. McMillan mentioned that a neighbor was sent in a letter not consenting of the closure of the road. But if this person were made aware of the plans of this road in the future, I'm sure he would change his position on that. And I'd like to talk to him about that. I can just imagine the uproar and dissatisfaction of the neighbors would express if they, were in fact made aware of these future plans. So I speak today on their behalf as well as my own. These future plans to open the road would immensely alter the quiet and idyllic country living that our community is attracted to. And this property, as I mentioned, I've owned for 20 years, and it's remained a natural state for all of these years. I've kept an eye on the land, I paid my taxes, and I actually have my neighbor up the road at 160. He's farming just the front section of this property with him and his daughter, growing, food, growing potatoes and kale and whatever. And that whole parcel of land before it was severed was in fact my stepfather's garden, where he planted tons of vegetables and asparagus and offered that to the public, etc. So now I wish to follow through with my dream of returning to Bull Road and building the home that I've researched. And the closure of this road allows me an extra 33 feet to follow through with my home building plans. I know for sure, I get the sense from my neighbors at 160 that they would in fact want that other 33 feet, which is perfectly fine, acceptable, and happy to comply. This extra footage would, would add to their property as well. When I spoke to them on the phone a month ago, they didn't know who I was. I introduced myself, told them I owned the property, and they told me that they were interested in buying it. So I'm sure they'd be happy with that extra footage, and I'm sure they'd be happy with the road being closed and knowing the future plan that the municipality has in mind. So my plan is a modern ranch style bungalow. It's not a 2-story, interesting roof pitches, simple, but its footprint is a little wide. And so it's slightly larger than the allowed footage and setbacks that I'm given at this time with the size of the property that I have. With the closure of this road, I would then meet all the side yard setbacks free and clear. Therefore, I ask that your recommendation be changed to an approval of my application to close this road allowance, please.
Thank you very much. I'll get Brian to explain some of what you've described. It's very rare that we would ever close a road allowance. Brian, can you
Yeah.
address some of these?
Sure. Yes, yes, through you,
points?
Mayor Latchford, and yes, Dale. Again, currently the road allowance is closed. Again, the municipality doesn't know the future of any property that's doesn't have a building on it right now. So there is land to the west or to the end of that road allowance that could be developed in the future. There is access from Bowles Road, has road allowance, and over on Tackleberry as well. We don't know which way that property would need access into that property. There is some water in that property as well. So the Conservation Authority, the ministry would be involved as well. So the township, and my recommendation moving forward, we would not want to stop up and close and sell this portion, this section of road allowance, that we could landlock, a future development or a home or something on that property. There is other stuff as well that the planner had talked about on the Oak Ridges Moraine. But again, it isn't a standard practice, like the mayor just said, for us to, sell these road allowances. And again, my recommendation basically is to keep this road allowance. Again, we don't know what the future holds for the property in behind. And if we were to sell this, we could be denying access to a future development or a homeowner or, like that.
So Brian, are you saying then that the road above me, so meaning, I guess it's actually south of me, that, are you saying that road is actually still closed? Like, okay.
Yeah, it's currently
So
free, Mayor.
closed-
It's current. Yeah, it's
Closed
on open
as
allowance.
in an unopened, Brian, or has previously been closed in the past? I think we need a little clarification on that.
It's an unopened road allowance right now.
Yeah, so it's never been closed.
That's right.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's fine.
Okay, is there?
But on your lot, Mrs. Boki, you have enough room to build a home on the lot you have now without the road being closed and added to your property. Is that correct?
I can. It's not the plan that I was hoping to, it's not the plan that I had researched and was hoping to build, because I guess in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna close that road so that I attain that 33 feet, blah, 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 as I'd already explained. So in answer to your question, yes, but it's not the plan that I was hoping for.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to ask council if they have any questions for anyone. Any questions? Sherry? No? So council has no question.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes.
Is there any way that I could see the plans that show that road, it's not that I don't believe, it's just, well, yes, I sort of don't believe, because like I said, I was sure I held in my hand a survey that showed that it was in fact closed. Is there any way that I could see that, or can you give me any direction as to where I could find that information?
Do we have that? Do you know? Or
Through you,
Brian?
Mayor Latchford, I've been looking at this, I've been looking at the lot fabric that we have on our GIS system, which we have an excerpt of in the report, and it's just outlined in red. Is all that's been done is that portion of the road allowance has been outlined in red. I'm not sure what survey she's referring to. We can look and see what we've got available here, but I'm not sure that I have a survey that shows that road. I can see what we've got.
Okay, then, right? As I've said, because of future developments and everything, and we don't know the plans ahead, it's very rare that we ever would close a road allowance. So I don't know if you can't find that document. We don't have anything by the sounds of staff that says that it's been closed. It's just unopened. Right, Brian?
Yes.
Yeah, yes. So council, you can make the decision either to leave it as is, or if Mrs. Volkey can have time.
I'd like to try to research that on my own then, if you would be accepting of that.
Well, it's up to council,
Okay.
because if it's never been registered with us that it's closed, I would think unlikely. Councillor Booth?
Would it be possible then,
No, you don't want to, so.
would it be possible then that we could defer this so that the applicant can research it, and maybe the senior planner can take a look to see whether we do have anything, just to clear up before we make the decision?
That's up to you if you want to make that as a recommendation that it,
I would make that motion just to defer it and maybe come back at the next planning meeting. It's not like it's an emergency to come back right away. And people can do some research and then we can make an informed decision.
that's your motion, moved by Councillor Booth, second,
I'll second that for now.
Councillor
But I'd
Phil.
like to make a comment as well.
Okay,
My comment would be that we would never want to landlock a piece of land. That's just poor planning. And if it turns out that your request landlocks that lot in behind you there, then I doubt very much that you'll be supported.
Deputy Mayor Gibson?
Yeah, I understand the frustration that Dale is feeling. But I'm not sure that researching it further is going to change the information that staff has provided to us as to the reasons why they're suggesting that this be denied. So I'm not sure that buying yourself any more time and doing research is not going to change the reasons why staff are suggesting that it's not appropriate.
Okay. Anything further? I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Is this,
Opposed?
So just
Okay.
as a clarification, we were voting on deferring it.
It's deferred until the next meeting, if she can prove that it's closed.
Even so, it may not be enough to change the position of council,
Yeah.
just so you know that.
Yeah, it was just to defer, that's all. No decision.
Okay, so the onus then is on Mrs. Boki to bring that information in for the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, you're okay with that?
That's wonderful. Thank you.
All
When
right.
when is your next meeting set for?
June 21st.
21st. Right.
Yeah. Okay, but there's still no guarantee, as we've said, that we'd ever close it because it's just not good practice. All right, so we're moving on now to bylaws. Item 14, bylaw number 42-2022, being a bylaw to amend the comprehensive zoning bylaw 19-2021. Be it resolved that bylaw number 42-2022, being a bylaw to amend the comprehensive zoning bylaw number 19-2019 as amended of the Township of Alnwick Haldeman for Ian, Glory, and Claire Phillips, concession B, part of lot 11 and 12, geographic Haldeman, be read and deemed to be passed this 26th day of May 2022. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Phillips, second. Councillor Hogg, all in favor? Carried. Our next bylaw is bylaw number 43-2022, being a bylaw to amend the comprehensive zoning bylaw 19-2019 for De Jong Crop Care, Inc. Be it resolved that bylaw number 43-2022, being a bylaw to amend the comprehensive zoning bylaw number 19-2019 as amended of the Township of Alnwick Haldeman for De Jong Crop Care, Inc., concession 8, part of lot 29 and 30, geographic Haldeman, be read and deemed to be passed this 26th day of May 2022. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Phillips, second. Deputy Mayor Gibson, all in favor? Carried.
Yeah.
Bylaw number 44-2022, and this one is for Gary and Julie Edwards. Be it resolved that bylaw number 44-2022, being a bylaw to amend the comprehensive zoning bylaw number 19-2019 as amended of the Township of Alnwick Haldeman for Gary and Julie Edwards, concession 9, part of lot 24, geographic Haldeman, be read and deemed to be passed this 26th day of May 2022. Mover? Councillor Booth, second by Councillor Philp, all in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 45-2022, and this is a bylaw to amend the zoning bylaw for Vicky and William Sayers. Be it resolved that bylaw number 45-2022, being a bylaw to amend the comprehensive zoning bylaw number 19-2019 as amended of the Township of Alnwick Haldeman for Vicky and William Sayers, concession 1, part of lot 5, geographic Haldeman, be read and deemed to be passed this 26th day of May 2022. Mover? Councillor Phillips, second by Deputy Mayor Gibson, all in favor? Carried. And bylaw number 63-2022 will come back
We're planning.
next meeting.
Well, I'm sorry.
Item 15, is there, this is announcements and notice of motions, planning related, if anyone has one. Deputy Mayor Gibson?
Well, I'm going to veer from planning related, but I think it's appropriate this time to just have a big shout out to all the municipal employees, both our own and across the county, and you know, others who helped clear roads get us out of the mess of the storm of Saturday. I think it's a good reminder about how fortunate we are to live in, you know, such a resourceful community.
Thank you very much. That's good. There's quite a few still without hydro, I think.
Mhm.
Anything else?
That's all.
Councillor Philip,
I have nothing at this time. Thank you.
Councillor Booth,
Nothing at this time.
Councillor Hogg,
I have nothing.
and I don't have anything at this time either today. So the bylaw to the confirming bylaw. Be it resolved that bylaw number 67-2022, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the municipal planning meeting of Thursday, May 26, 2022, be read and deemed to be passed this 26th day of May, 2022. Mover? Councillor Booth, second by Councillor Philip, all in favor? Carried. And motion to adjourn the municipal planning meeting at 11:01 a.m. Deputy Mayor Gibson. Seconded by Councillor Hogg. All are in favor. Okay, thanks, everyone. Good meeting.
Thank you for agreeing to move the meeting in June. I appreciate it.
I'll have to check now and see if I got a hair appointment or something.